Hey, friends, and welcome back to my channel where style, flavor, and faith meet. Or if you're new here, my name is Taylor, and today we are doing something a lot different. This is the start of a brand new series called Rated T, where I will be reviewing TV shows and using my Taylor T meter to give them a rating at the end of the season. And we are kicking things off strong with the Never Ever Mets on the Oprah Winfrey Network, also known as OWN. Now, this show has got drama, surprises, and a concept that definitely caught my attention. Now, you might be wondering, what is Rated T all about? Well, let me break it down for you. This is your go to spot for real, unfiltered reviews on all your TV shows that you can't stop watching and the ones that you probably should be. We're talking messy plot twists, dramatic moments, and of course, the best and worst characters. If you've been rocking with me for a while meaning a month, because y'all know I'm still new on this platform, you know that this is not my typical lane. But hear me out. I've got thoughts, feelings, and I'm bringing all the sass and honesty to the screen. So if you love TV talk, a good binge, a little tea, some lighthearted shade, and real talk about your favorite shows, then you are going to love this. So make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell also so that you never miss any of my weekly breakdowns. And hey, I need your help. Drop a comment below and let me know what show you think I should review next. I'm open to drama, reality, something on Netflix, something on OWN, you name it. All right, now let's get into it because the Never Ever Mets. Woo child, buckle up because we have got some things to talk about. So we are kicking off season 2, episode 1 with Charli and Jared, who have been dating virtually for 4.5 years. Let's just start off with the 4.5 years. I'm not dating you for 4.5 seconds and not seeing you. We need to either be in person or on FaceTime. I need to be seeing you through a window, something like that. Ain't no way. That's insane. Anyway, Charli is 34, out of Dallas. Jared, 32, Columbia, South Carolina. The two went to the same high school, but they never crossed paths. She added him as a friend on Facebook during the pandemic. Of course, everybody remembers the pandemic. We all had a bunch of time on our hands. She noticed that they had a bunch of friends in common, added him. He confirmed. She slid into his DMs, and then it kind of went on from there. Their communication continued. However, as the time went on, the communication went from 2 to 3 FaceTimes and points of communication in one day to once or twice a week, which is kind of crazy because how do you go from talking to somebody on a daily basis and then y'all just don't talk that much? But we don't get into that. So, in her confessional or in her audition tape, rather, she's talking about how she figured that Jared was talking to other women. Her woman's intuition kind of kicked in and she knew he was talking to other people. So she just decided to say, F it, and I'm just going to go ahead and do me. And hooked up with a random man and came up pregnant. Okay, well, that's an issue, seeing as you're going on a TV show and you're also talking to a man or have been dating him virtually for 4.5 years. Doesn't make any sense to me, but whatever floats your boat, Charli. However, she does seem like a nice, sweet girl, someone that I would hang out with. And then we see Alicia walking into the house. Now, let me first start off by saying Alicia had that outfit on. Honey, she had on that tan outfit with them silver heels. Super cute. But Alicia is 36 out of Nazareth. Nazareth, okay? A biblical city. Nazareth, Pennsylvania, and she is virtually dating Ervin, who is 44 out of Brockton, Massachusetts, and they have been dating for 5 months. Now, Alicia had a lot to say in her confessional. However, I do understand where she was coming from when she said she wasn't sure if their connection was real because they had just been talking through Zoom. Makes perfect sense. But still, I think she should just kind of give him a little bit of a chance. She seems very timid. I don't know if she's had some trauma in the past, but there's a lot going on with Miss Alicia. Um, She says that she wants to be a wife, which I think is fair enough. At, she's 36 years old, so I can understand she may want children one day. So, yeah, wanting to be a wife and not a girlfriend for life makes perfect sense to me. Then we see Tatiana, and Tatiana is 31 from Los Angeles, California, and she has been virtually dating Clavacia for 8 months. Hold on now. Clavacia, that's a name, okay? Clavacia, 28 out of Riverdale, Georgia. So let me first say that name. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so Tatiana wants to meet Clavacia in person to see if their connection is real since they don't live close to one another. Very much valid. You're in California, he's in Georgia. Yeah, y'all not seeing each other often. And she's also a mother, so she's got to tend to her son, and she's in school, so seems like she lives a very busy life. And it looks like he may be in the army or the armed forces. I think he had on a uniform in the beginning, like in his introduction when we saw his pictures. He had on a uniform, so I'm guessing he serves in one of the branches of the military. So thank you for your service, Clavassier, if you are in fact in the army or again serving. So Tatiana walks in, she's embracing everybody, seems very sweet. The white boots that she had on, super cute. And then we see also when Tatiana came in, I loved how Alicia complimented her. They complimented one another. It's always great to see women, especially Black women, to embrace one another the way that they did. You don't always see that. Oftentimes there can be jealousy, but those two definitely embodied what Black women need to be doing. So I hope everyone can take some notes from them. So next we see pulling up is Alexis. And Alexis is 40 fine, is what she said. Well, girl, no, you're 47. Let's just keep it that way. Let's keep it real. And she's from Philadelphia. And she's virtually dating Chris. She's been dating Chris for 1 year, and Chris is 35 years old from Dallas. Now, when I tell y'all I seen Chris, I'm looking at the man, I'm hearing the voice, but I'm not remembering where I know this man from. I knew I had heard his voice and had seen his face before, but it was just not clicking for me. But anyway, we'll get to that in a second. So, Alexis met Chris through a mutual friend, and Alexis seems very, like she has a very hard external. Um, yeah, she just seemed kind of hard on the outside, but maybe she's sweet. You never know. But they met through a mutual friend. She said that she asked this man for a picture of his private area, liked what she saw, and then they went from there. Okay, so we're basically building our connection simply off of private pictures or pictures of private parts, lust. Okay, got it. So now we're at the point where I'm seeing this man's face again and hearing his voice, and I finally realized that this was the same Chris that was a bombshell on Ready to Love Dallas. And I don't think he ended up going home with anybody. I think they sent him home shortly after he got there, or not too long after he got there. But we'll kind of get into his story later. So that is Alexis and Chris. Next, we see pulling up is Keke. And Keke, she has like a baby face. She has a very sweet voice, like soft, sweet voice, baby face, braces. And she is riding in the car, pulling up to the house. She seems very nervous, but also excited. She has been dating Brandon. Now, Keke is 29 out of Atlanta, and Brandon, who is her man, 30 years old out of Birmingham, Alabama. They've been dating virtually for 4 years. Here we go again with dating someone for 4 years. That's insane. I don't get it. Like, how you dating somebody virtually for 4 years? Y'all ain't made no plans to meet at all. Make it make sense. But anywho, so Keke in her confessional is just trying to understand and figure out, what if Brandon decides that he doesn't like me? Now, my thing is this: why are you already putting out negative energy into the atmosphere, assuming that this man won't like you? You done already told him that you're a heavy set woman. Once you tell him that the first time, I'm sure he saw what your photos looked like on Instagram, Facebook, whatever you have, whatever social media you have. You ain't got to keep bringing it up. She's insecure about her weight, and that's the reason why she wouldn't meet him in real life. My thing though is don't project that onto him. That's something that you have to deal with. And you asking him, what if he decides that he don't like me? And if he don't, so what? Yeah, you done wasted 4 years of your life, but at least you didn't marry the man. At least you don't have kids with him if he just decides that he don't like you. So, but I was thinking that she needed to just get a man a chance. Now, here's where I kind of had an issue. Sis came in, said hello to the ladies, and then it cuts into her immediately going to go get some alcohol and says, I hate to be that girl. Keke, you gonna have to figure out a way to control whatever is going on here, because that's not a good introduction when you're meeting new people. Is where the alcohol at? I hate to be that girl. Yeah, you don't want to be that girl. You don't want to be that girl that's drinking every time people see you. Anyways, yeah, I got my thoughts on that, but we gonna move on. So now we see Brittany. Brittany is rolling up to the house. She's 40, out of Houston. She's virtually dating Ty. Ty is 38, out of LA. They've been dating virtually for 3 months. Okay, so not long. These two really just met each other 90 days ago. Okay. They just now getting off their little probationary period at Ford or GM or wherever, Chrysler. So yeah, this is real fresh. My first impression of Ty is that this man does not take anything seriously, which when people do that and they're always joking around, I always think, are you overcompensating for something? And if so, what is it? Is it your height? Is it your weight? Is it something on the exterior? Like, what are you overcompensating for? Now, Brittany has told us that she doesn't have much of a support system in Houston. She has a 3-year-old son, and she wants her man to accept her son as his own, which makes perfect sense. You all want to be one tight knit family, so she wants her man to take on that parental role for her son. Very understandable. Brittany seems like a very sweet woman. Her hair was nice and done. The hat she had on in the car was super cute. It gave me, what's that bear? Smokey the Bear or wildlife vibes, being out in the wilderness. It was really cute. So after Brittany walks in, she's introducing herself to everyone. The ladies are hugging and embracing. They get some champagne. And then in walks a man. Okay, so now everybody's confused as to who this gentleman is, because they were expecting for the ladies to all be there and meet for the first time before meeting the men. But in comes Cinco. Cinco is 30 years old, out of Atlanta, Georgia, and he is dating Jay. They've been dating virtually for 5 months. Jay and Cinco met on Instagram. He says that she was looking at his videos and he went to go investigate who she was. I thought this was really funny, but also a test to the fact that he really does like her, because this man says he is dating Jay exclusively and she better say the same thing. I know that's right, Cinco. Look, match my energy. And if you're not, then I'm going to find somebody else to do it, because I ain't got time to be playing around with you. Now, Jay, she's a mother. She has a son, and this is allowing Cinco to see her in her motherhood and seeing what it's like to potentially have a child with her in the future if they were to get to that point, which I think is nice that he's thinking ahead to building a family with this woman that he's only been dating for 5 months. Now, Jay, it shows when they were talking online that she is obsessed with checking his height and has mentioned on many occasions bringing a tape measure to check this man's height, because he says that he is 6'7" and she believes that he is 6'5". Now, my height, I'm 5'4", 5'3" and a half, 5'4", something like that. Anything over that, I'm not going to care about. Like, I'm not bringing no tape measure. I'm not wasting space in my luggage with that. If you're 6 anything, we're good. So I'm not sure what's going on with that, but that is where we see Jay and Cinco kind of leave off. They are a very cute couple aesthetically, and I hope that they do end up working out. So now that all of the couples, half of the couples have been introduced, now we see Taronda Jones, who is the host, outside, and she is yelling for the Never Ever Mets to come on outside. Now, when I first saw her, my first thought was, girl, what is you wearing? What? Who? Why? Um, what's going on with this outfit? This little hat cocked to the side a little bit is pink. The jacket looked like it was two sizes too big. I did not understand what was going on. I ain't never seen nothing like that before, y'all. I've never. So I was just very confused. And it was funny because the camera had cut over and you could see Cinco looking outside like, who is this lady and why is she yelling like that? But anyways, she tells them to come outside. They're having a conversation. She's explaining the process, what's going to be happening for the next 3 weeks. And then she tells them that they are going to be meeting their other half a little later to go into the house, freshen up, and then get ready for their date. And so the first date that we see is Charli and Jared. So before Charli leaves the house to go meet Jared, her and some of the other ladies are doing a, I guess, farewell champagne toast, just to kind of give each other some great energy to get the nerves out, which I thought was really cute. So you see her, she's in the car, she's getting ready to go meet her man, Jared, for pottery, which I thought was really cute. Very low stakes date, nothing too crazy. Once she arrives, they see each other, they embrace, kind of sizing each other up, as to be expected. She thinks that he is gorgeous. She said that she saw that online, but it's nice to see it in person. He thinks that she is perfect, and they seem to be vibing very well. Very cute couple. And then after their date is over, or the pottery is over, they kind of have fun banter, talking about each other's feet size, all of that. So we see them having wine, and Jared asks Charli to tell him more about herself. Even though they had already been talking and they, had gotten to know each other, it's still different in person. So he wanted to know more in case there was things that he did not know. In my opinion, we already found out that Charli was pregnant before getting to the show or getting on the show. And to me, when he asked that question, that would have been the perfect time for her to tell him, hey, look, I got me a newborn baby, just so you know. But she chose to say, oh no, you pretty much know everything. No, girl, he don't, and you lying. Lie number two. But again, they still seem to be vibing very well. So the next date that we see is Cinco and Jay. So they went to go play basketball. Jay planned the date. She said he's the man. Men also need to be catered to. I got the date. You just come and show up. Okay, girl. I know that's right. Cater to your man. Ain't nothing wrong with it. So what I really thought was nice about their date was the fact that Cinco showed up with flowers. Now, no shade to Jared, but I wish that he would have come to the date with something in hand. But maybe there was something off camera that we didn't see. However, it was nice to see Cinco show up with roses, not even just roses, but the roses that she likes. And he knew that. So I thought that was really nice of him to do and very thoughtful. So you see them talking. Cinco said that he's happy that she looks the same in person, that he didn't get catfish, which I completely understand. In this day and age, nobody should be catfishing anybody, but the TV show Catfish is still on, so somebody out here getting catfish. Jay says that she is happy that he told the truth about his height. Here we go again with the obsession with the height and the bringing out a ruler, a tape measure. I don't understand. But she also liked the fact that he's handsome, in which he is. And again, who's lying about their height these days? People did that back in 2011. If you're still lying about your height in 2025, go seek a therapist. Anywho, after the date was over, they go ahead and have pizza and drinks, which I thought was very light. Nothing too heavy after playing basketball. Pizza, drinks, having conversation. Jay's having a little bit of a hard time looking Cinco in his eyes because she's still kind of shocked that he's even there in person, which I thought was cute. and they have a little more conversation. Later on, you then see these two getting in the shower with one another. Hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right. Like that meme. I know y'all seen that meme before. No. This is just me. I'm not getting in the shower with any man that I just met 2 seconds ago. And then you're also showering in the public shower where everybody else is supposed to be showering. Come on now. Y'all couldn't wait for the intimacy suite to be open the next day. That definitely was making me and my homegirls mad. But anyway, so the next date that we see is Brittany and Ty. And their date was really cool that Ty planned a date to go parasailing. So they meet. She says that she liked how he embraced her during their first hug. She likes to kind of be held tight, and it looks like he did just that. Now he's again, like I said earlier, he don't seem to have a serious bone in his body, and he was making very odd comments about getting wet, which I thought was very weird, especially for the first time meeting somebody. I knew what he meant by that. He was trying to be playful. However, there's a time and a place, and that to me was not the time. They go into this little boat. They're going parasailing. They get hooked up on the gear and they go on up in the air. And we find out that Ty does not know the difference between a seagull and a pelican, which I thought was very funny. And he was loud and wrong about it being a seagull. But they were having a good time. Here he goes, still joking and playing around, not being serious. And I guarantee you, later on in the season, that whole playing around and being just joking all the time is going to be a problem. Mark my words. That lady does not want a grown man who's always playing around. She don't want a puppy, she want a big dog, and he need to just grow up. That's what it is. Stop playing around and get serious. After their parasailing date, they're just sitting there talking about her son and wanting to travel and all the things. So hopefully it works out. They are cute together, but he just need to grow up. So the next date that we see is Keke and Brandon. Now Keke, again, she is a BBW model, and Brandon is hoping that she likes him. That's basically all that he's worried about, which I thought was really nice on his part, that he was more so concerned about her feelings than his own. And so Keke finally walks through the door and they kind of embrace. And she says that, he's cute, but what I didn't like was her saying that he is shorter than what she thought. Girl, y'all been sitting there talking on the phone for 4 years. You ain't talk about height. How you didn't know he wasn't as tall as you thought he was gonna be? Make it make sense, Kiki. Because those are topics that typically come up in conversation when you're talking about what's your favorite color, where are you from, what are your hobbies, how many siblings you got. Those are things that come up. So for her to say that he wasn't as tall as she was expecting, I'm calling BS on that. However, I definitely agree with her when she says that his outer appearance is on point. So we can move on from that. Now, what I really was just blown away by was the fact that on the first meeting, Brandon decides to plan what I like to call a lingerie photo shoot. And if you don't know it as lingerie, you probably know it as lingerie. On the first meeting, Brandon, really? But she went ahead and did what she needed to do. She's a BBW model, so she probably felt comfortable anyway. Hopefully the photos turned out the way that she was hoping or that he was hoping. And then we see these two after the photo shoot is over. They are sitting down at a nice table and there are chicken wings and wine. He pours her a glass, pours himself a glass. Well, Keke wasn't satisfied because she was still nervous and thought another glass, or not another glass, but more wine in her glass would kind of make the nerves go away. That then triggers him to ask, "Are you a drinker?" She says she working on it. I can already tell that this is going to be a problem. The way he was looking at her was like, "For real, this what we doing? Why am I just not finding out about this?" So after their date is over, the next date that we see is Alicia and Ervin. Now, I thought his date was really cute. He is of Haitian descent, so he thought it would be nice to incorporate his culture into their first meeting. They did the compa, I believe is how it is pronounced. Alicia was very weird. She was very uncomfortable. She said she was uncomfortable about being so close during the dance. Girl, what? Like, what do you mean? I mean, I understand, they say sometimes leave room for Jesus in between the two of y'all, but my goodness, the man was trying to introduce you to his culture, and then you want to talk about being uncomfortable. Okay. But then it seemed like she warmed up and there was a lot of eye contact going on. So they looked very cute together. Then, after they finished their dance lesson, they went up to a helipad, I believe is what it was. And they had a beautiful view of LA. And they were up there. They had champagne. And he was being kind of touchy feely. And sis was not feeling it. You could tell. She was like, okay, okay, like basically telling him to stop. And, Ervin, you just gotta take a chill pill, okay? It'll come in due time, but you just gotta calm down. So then our next date that we see is Tatiana and Clavacia, and they went horseback riding. Once they pan to his face, I immediately recognized this man. I remember him from many, many years ago. He did a YouTube video with three of his exes, and he was talking about it was like a compare and contrast type of video. I'm like, I know this guy from somewhere. Also, I believe he was in a music video. I can't remember if it was a Lyrica video, like Lyrica Anderson, or Carrie Hilson, but this man done been around the block. He sees Tatiana come down the hill. He rated her a 10 out of 10 for looks. There's a lot of laughing, which I attributed to them being nervous. However, they are a very cute looking couple. So they go horseback riding. Once they're done with that, they ride up to a area where there's a picnic set up for the two of them. They're sitting there talking. She, I believe, is vegan, and so they're talking about being vegan, and he says that he's open to it. I really appreciated the fact that she said, "You do not have to eat like me." That to me showed that she does not want him altering his eating habits just to please her. Because in the end, if he's going to become vegan just because she told him to do it, he's going to end up resenting her. So it's best that he kind of just continues to do his own thing. However, he did say he would be open to looking into it or maybe trying some things out. It sounds like he's got some friends that are vegan. So they're eating, they're having a good time. And Clavassier, yeah, he tried it. He was trying to go in for a kiss, and sis was not having it at all. And he was also making plans to do the same thing next year for their anniversary. We'll have to keep watching the season to see if they actually make it to that point. Now, the next date that we are seeing, our seventh and last date, is Alexis and Chris. And Chris has planned a nice picnic on the beach. In his confessional, Chris says that he has never seen Alexis from the waist down, and he has a very strong accent, and he sounds like somebody granddaddy. So the way that he's saying this is hilarious to me, but I do understand where he's coming from. You also see them having conversation online, and Chris was in the doghouse because he met someone local. Well, if you didn't already know, we found out that that person that he met local was Maya from Ready to Love, the same season that he was on. And if you don't remember Maya, she was the one that was dating LaRon, and LaRon was you know what, crazy. However, they seem to overcome that whole situation. We see Alexis showing up to the beach. She's walking down the hill. They not really making eye contact like that, but then he starts smiling, and that kind of, I guess, allowed her to open up and become a little more comfortable. We see him giving her 2 dozen roses, something like that. Very beautiful. Very nice setup that they had. And before they could even get a taste of their drink, she's asking him, "Don't you owe me something?" And he's looking confused. Alexis was looking for a public apology for his behavior and messing with other women, i.e., Maya. So once she tells him what the apology is about, he says, "Oh, yeah, you're right. I do have to apologize." And he did, and he seemed to be pretty sincere. However, ladies, don't be begging these men out here for an apology. If they can't give you an apology on their own, you need to go find somebody that will. So they're continuing to have conversation, and then you hear Alexis asking Chris, "Am I your type?" And in response, Chris says, "Well, I'm more of an energy person." As soon as he said those words, I knew that this couple was doomed. Ladies, if he says that he's an energy person, you need to run for the hills from which your help comes from. Your help cometh from the Lord. It really looked like he wanted to say, "Well, no, you're not my type, but since we're here, we might as well just have a good time for the next 3 weeks." That's what it looked like he wanted to say. But the two of them, oh, also, um, production and Alexis, I'm calling all of y'all down front. Why y'all let this lady go meet Chris and her hair wasn't fully done for real? I mean, she obviously could have done her hair herself, but also production, y'all sitting there, I'm sure y'all got glam teams or whatever. Why y'all didn't make sure this lady was on point? So now we see all of the couples meeting in the house. They're eating, drinking, playing pool, chatting. There's a lot of laughter. It just seems like everybody's trying to get to know each other. So then we see Charli dipping away from the group to go pump milk for her baby while Jared is sleeping on the couch. Okay. Charli, when you gonna tell this man you got a baby? Well, I guess she was starting to feel guilty even more, so she went to go wake him up off the couch, and the look he gave, if looks could kill. So we see them two sitting outside on the patio, and she tells him that she has a newborn baby. But not only that, she had a 12-year-old daughter that he already knew about. While he believed she was having hernia surgery, homegirl was actually giving birth. In addition to all of that, she also dropped on him that she has a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. So in total, Charli has 4 kids and not 2. What a bomb that is to drop on somebody, especially when you're meeting them for the first time. So this man was going on believing that you only had 1 kid and you actually have 4. All I know is she should have never been casted on this show. And production, I'm calling y'all down front again. What's this about? Why y'all got this girl on here? And Charli, I'm also calling you down front because what kind of mother are you to leave your 1-month-old baby with somebody else while you go chase after a man that you just met on national TV? How much they paying you? Because the bag had to be good for you to abandon your baby. And not only your baby, but your other 3 children that you left with somebody else back in Texas or wherever they're at. Is your baby here in California? Like, what is going on? I just need answers because this doesn't make any sense. Charli, we need you to use your frontal lobe because sis, it's giving frontal lobe cortex is not fully developed. However, we see Jared in his response, he says that he figured something was going on, but he was also going through some stuff in his personal life. So in next week's episode, we get to see whatever it is that Jared has been holding on to. Also, in next week's episode, we get to see the couples participating in a body painting activity. Clavacia appears to be lying about whatever is going on, and Alicia and Ervin have an argument. And that concludes episode 1 of season 2 for the Never Ever Mets. Tune into my next video as I dissect episode 2, which is entitled The More the Merrier. All right, y'all, that's it for this episode of Rated T. If you like the breakdown, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Let's get this video to 100 likes. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on your notifications, and drop your show suggestions in the comments because I might just review your pick next. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.